October 31st Shibuya, 5 minutes post-barbecue. Dagon is freshly shucked, and Megumi is struggling against an unknown opponent, who in reality is his own father, Toji Fushiguro, forcibly reanimated. And today we're going to talk about one of the most important scenes in Jujutsu Kaisen, the day Megumi met his own father. As far as Megumi knows, his father is off somewhere living his best life. And from the looks of it, after Gojo's first attempt, he never tried to tell Megumi that he killed his father ever again. Toji is one of the most important characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. He's partially responsible for Gojo's enlightenment and his status as the strongest. Gojo's empathy in having taken this child's father from him is a huge reason why he took him into Jujutsu High in the first place. Despite the fact that they were enemies, Gojo knew that there was more to Toji's character than simply being a violent man. And no scene better demonstrates the man that Toji was than his conversation in chapter 113. When Toji was discussing with Naobito the fate of Megumi and the Zeniin family, we see the inner thoughts of Toji and what he really thinks about his son. Contrary to what even Gojo believed, Megumi to Toji was not just a weapon against the Zeniin family or a way to make a quick buck. He truly thought his son would have a better place in the Zeniin family than with him. But this is really just how he rationalizes it to himself. And this brings us to the most important part in this entire scene, when in Toji's memories he says, I don't care anymore. But we can see the gears turning in a reanimated Toji's head at the side of his own son. And these memories aren't just coming from the mind of Toji, but his literal soul. And Toji loves his son so much that he literally comes back to life to have one final conversation with his son and discover that he's taken an independent path in life away from the Zeniin family. And he cracks a partial smile and just says, good for you. And unknown to Megumi, his dad dies right in front of him. This scene is incredible for multiple reasons. Not only do we get to see the connection of the body and soul further demonstrated, but we also get one of the most important pieces of Megumi's character arc. In Megumi's mind, his dad is a deadbeat. And for most of this series, he's just been living for his sister's sake and for the sake of others. Megumi has yet to find an independent reason for living. But the opportunity to even find that was a gift that Gojo gave him and one his father always wanted him to have, and the gift that Sukuna stole from him. And despite what Toji said in his own narration, at the actual core of his soul, he was happy that his son found independence in the world. And given Megumi's current state of having his independence stripped from him, this is the opposite of what Gojo and Toji wanted for him. In chapter 212, Megumi's agency was ripped from him. This is part of the reason I really think Megumi is going to get his body back. Interactions like this become completely pointless if he doesn't, and considering that Megumi is one of the first characters Gege had planned out, his arc seems very unlikely to end as just a power-up for Sukuna or a plot device for his defeat. I'm 50-50 on Sumiki dying at the time of making this video. She could survive, but her death might actually motivate Megumi's character more than Sukuna thinks it would. Megumi's motivations in life have been primarily external in this series, in large part due to his sister, and her death would really force him to find an internal reason for living. The overriding of the soul of the heavenly restricted body is also a very interesting concept, and heavenly restricted bodies in general in Jujutsu Kaisen are a true anomaly. As far as we know, there have been more 6 eyes users than heavenly restricted bodies. And they're both from the same family, which I find interesting. Toji is obviously a very important character. He has an enormous impact on the events of the world despite his short time in the story. Gojo may be exceptionally arrogant, but he does have a lot more empathy than someone like Sukuna does. And despite how goofily he plays off this interaction when he first meets Megumi, this just seems to be how Gojo copes with difficult situations. He's still recovering from Riko's death, and he's truly saddened by the fact that he had to take this kid's dad from him. And despite Toji saying that he had no last words to Gojo, in a twist of fate, he got to tell his son his final words instead. So those are my overall thoughts on this moment and why I think it's so important. With the current state of Jujutsu Kaisen, Megumi, Yuji, and Sukuna have been so intertwined, and it's no surprise that the replacement for Toji also gets more development than most characters. But now I want to know what you guys think about this scene in the comments. This scene actually hit me harder than I would have expected when I first saw it, which is pretty rare for me. I remember when I was in the theaters for Star Trek Into Darkness 10 years ago, and when somebody got their skull busted, the screen went black, and somebody in my theater broke the silence and just said, damn, he dead. And that's how I feel about most characters dying in anime. So this was a pleasantly unpleasant surprise. That's all I have to say in this video, and if you like videos like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thanks for watching.